And welcome back to Subculture on centralcoastradio.com. Well, Melbourne Fringe is in full swing at the moment in Melbourne town. And one of the shows I got out and saw this last week was Spunk Daddy, the brand new comedy cabaret from Darby James. Now, this is kind of a difficult show to talk about on radio because it's not something that little ears should be probably hearing the topic of this show. So I'd probably recommend, if you've got children in the room at the moment, you just keep them a little bit distracted, because what Darby James has actually done here is make a cabaret production about sperm donation. Now, you probably guessed where this was heading from the title of the show. And look, to be honest, when I first heard about this show and got asked to go and review it, I was expecting a kind of crass comedy show about sperm. Let's just be honest. Let's just call it the medical name. Let's get that out there. I was expecting kind of a crash show. I thought maybe it might take that kind of same route as what films like Road Trip did, where you have the Sean William Scott character going to a sperm donation point to try and make some money. But and to be honest, when I first walked into the Butterfly Club the other night to see this show, my first impressions didn't alleviate from that fear at all, because I walked in and there, sitting on the stage, as you walk into the theatre, was Darby James dressed in a sailor's outfit, looking like he was on a deserted island. So at first I was like, why is he in a sailor's outfit? Then it hit me. He was a seaman, sperm. Yeah. You know where it's going. But to be honest, this show ended up being very, very different to what I thought it was going to be. First of all, it's all original music written by Darby James. Of course, the show is directed by Casey Gould. And these original songs are witty. They're funny. But they're also thought-provoking, because this show looks at James's journey into becoming a sperm donor. It also raises some really interesting questions early on. James reveals himself to be a gay man. So for him, semen has a very different role in his relationship than, say, a couple trying to get pregnant or anything like that. So you're instantly starting to think of things like that. Then it delves into, well, as a gay man, how does he start a family if he ever wants to start a family? Then he talks about the fact that during the Victorian lockdowns, he came across an ad online on social media asking whether or not somebody might be interested in being a sperm donor. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody out there thinks that if you want to be a sperm donor, you literally just go to a clinic and do it, basically. Even though they say that you don't get paid, as James reveals here, that you do actually get paid for your time. You get the average Australian wage for the hours that you're there. You get your transportation costs covered. So there are people out there that probably still think, oh, this is a quick way to make some money. James reveals that on his journey, it's anything but that. He kind of takes the audience on an emotional roller coaster ride, to be honest. He talks about what it was like going there and doing that. He has a beautiful song called Vulnerable that talks about how he felt after he'd done the deed. But he also talks about the levels that you have to go through, all the hoops that you have to jump through to become a sperm donor. The counselling sessions, and one of my highlights of the show was actually when he read out the letter that he had written to any potential children down the track that might be born as a result of his donations. I don't think I ever expected this show to take me on an emotional journey, but I found that it did, because James's songs might be comedic, but they're also very, very thought-provoking, and they raise questions like, what does it mean to be a dad? Why would you want to be a dad? What kind of dad would you be? How would you want your children to be? It really, really does raise some very, very thought-provoking questions. And look, I'll admit that when he was reading out that letter, I actually cried. So this literally is a show that made me laugh, it made me cry, and it made me think as well. It really takes you on a kind of range of emotions, because at one moment you'll be singing along to one of the songs. A lot of the songs kind of have a sea shanty feel to them, and there's a couple of times where James encourages the audience to join him and sing along, and you find yourself singing along. You find yourself taking out your mobile phone and using the torch to light up the room when he invites you to do that. But at the same time, you're having this really fun time, but you're finding that you've got all these inner thoughts like happening about, well, yeah, what does it mean to be a father? Like, how would I want my children to turn out, and things like that. So it becomes a very, very deeply emotional show, even though you're having a lot of fun. Um, I said in my written review that I feel that this is a show that not only should anybody go to see who's thinking about being a sperm donor, but anyone should go and see this show that are thinking about becoming parents. Go along as a couple and then discuss some of the things that the show raises afterwards, because it's brilliant at doing that. You will do a lot of exploring of your inner self when you're watching this show, and after you walk away from it. I'll warn you about that. But look, this is one of those comedy cabarets that works really, really well. Darby James is an absolute star. He's a sensation with the music that he's written for this, and the way that he presents it to you on stage as well. He's got this kind of style where you feel like there's no audience members around you. You feel when he's talking and when he's singing that he's talking or singing directly to you. So yeah, this is a very, very special show. Don't get put off by the title or the subject matter. This is dealt with in a very, very sensitive way. Like I said, it will have you thinking about stuff yourself. So yeah, if you want to, go along and check out Spunk Daddy at the Butterfly Club. There is a link on our website to how you can go and get tickets. But yeah, this is one of the shows that I feel should not be missed at this year's Melbourne Fringe Festival. You're on Subculture on centralcoastradio.com.